Hey guys, Tom back again. I'll be using the Google Pixel 7a for 5 weeks, and I'm excited to share with you guys the roller coaster experience with this phone. First 4 weeks were great, everything works as expected. It is a fast phone for $500, but once I crossed over the 30-day mark, I started experiencing more software issues. But before we get into that, let's just start off with some of the basic. For design and build quality, it is pretty similar to the Google Pixel 6a. You're getting a plastic back, metal frame, 4 different colors to pick from. And it is also IP67 water resistant, which is nice to see. Usually in the mid-range price, a lot of manufacturers either sacrifice water resistance or wireless charging. In this case, Google Pixel 7a does have both. Wireless charging is only 7.5 watts though, so even if you leave your phone on a wireless charger all day, I find that it will never really reach 100% due to the fact that the phone does run kind of hot. It has the Google Tensor G2 chip, which is pretty fast. When you're moving around, scrolling back and forth, everything performs just fine, but I think it is pretty demanding, so it makes the phone pretty warm half the time. It does struggle to charge. In addition to that, 18-watt fast charging is available, but if you're using a phone, I find that it charges really slowly. And in general, with this phone, I only get about 8 to 9 hours of battery life, and it is pretty easy to tell how long the battery life is going to last. I wake up at 6 a.m. every morning, pull down the notification shades, and it tells me that it'll last me till 2 or 3 p.m. So that's roughly 8 or 9 hours. So with the poor battery life, you have to worry about charging your phone more often. And combine that with the slower charging, you pretty much have to stay connected to the cable for a good amount of the day if you do want to make it through, especially you go out and about. Whenever you're not using it, I would recommend charging it, because when you do need to go out, you don't want to be stuck to a cable during the whole time. Display wise, you're getting a 6.1 inch screen, 1080p display, pretty standard for a lot of phones these days actually, so nothing very new there. Decent viewing angles. I have no problem seeing this phone under direct sunlight. Although since I used the Pixel 7 and the Galaxy S23 before, those phones have 1400, 750 nits respectively. With the Pixel 7a, you're getting about half of that at 1000, so you can't see it in sunlight. It is just a bit more challenging. Good news is I'm not sitting in the direct sunlight every day, so it doesn't really impact me that much on a day-to-day basis. Pixel 7a does have 8 gigs of RAM, but doesn't really matter that much these days. I feel like regardless of which phone I use, whether it is 6, 8, 12, 16 gigs of RAM, you don't really notice it that much when you're scrolling back and forth. The biggest difference you're really going to see is the processor. Like I mentioned earlier, the G2 is a really powerful chip. So for the most part, if you're just using one app at a time, it's fine. The RAM's really come into play if you're trying to launch 100 apps at once and never shutting anything down. I don't really use my phone that way, so 8 gigs of RAM is solid. Although I think Google would still need to do something about the chip, whether they not use Samsung or make their own chip. The G2 is fast, but it does run warm a lot of the time. And for camera, you're getting a 64 megapixel camera this year, dual camera system. In general, with Pixel phone, you're getting one of the best cameras that smartphone has to offer. It's really no difference here. If you do get a Pixel phone, you know that you're getting a pretty reliable camera. It all comes down to what you're shooting, how you're shooting it. If you know what you're doing, you can get some pretty decent photos. Some people just don't take any pictures at all, and that's fine too. Take pretty decent videos. Over the last 30 days, I've just been using my Google Pixel 7a to shoot these videos. Currently, I'm using the Google Pixel 7a main camera. I would prefer to use a wide-angle camera where it is not up and close to my face, but I find that whenever I use the wide-angle camera, it is a bit grainier and the quality is not as good. Actually, let me switch over to the wide camera real quick. Okay, so here is what the wide-angle camera looks like. You do get a bigger view. I'm just indoors. I have one light above my head, nothing fancy. I don't have like crazy light setup or anything like that. So here's what's going to look like with a wide-angle camera. I still find that the main camera works better and it lets in more light, and just in general it is less grainy. Software-wise, Google Pixel 7a runs on Android 13. Everything is pretty smooth over the first 30 days, but I noticed that, like I mentioned earlier, once I crossed over the 30-day mark, I started experiencing a lot of weird connection issues and a lot of bugs as well. For example, if I'm driving in the car and I'm using hotspot for my other device, I carry around a spare Galaxy S20. So every now and then I might need to hotspot to have data on my S20. Which is not something that is out of the realm of possibility. People hotspot on their kids' tablets all the time. But as I'm driving around, whenever I use hotspot, my Pixel would actually lose its internet connection. So I'm driving, I have Google Maps on, streaming music, all of a sudden my music would stop. My maps will continue to work though, but I just can't stream any music, and it is super frustrating. On the other hand, my Galaxy S20 still works just fine, all the internet and data is okay. But for some reason, I think the phone gets too hot or something, so all the features tend to get limited, such as internet, for whatever reason. So that was one of the biggest problems I experienced. And even the following day, I started experiencing it more. Even when I don't have hotspot on, I'm just using it normally, walking around, whether I'm going for a jog, just trying to play music or watching like YouTube videos while I'm running. All of a sudden, I would lose my internet connection. And the only way to fix it is to restart the phone, which is fine if it happens once a month, but it did happen back-to-back days. It's pretty concerning for me, especially if you are trying to if it's early in the morning, you're trying to run, be motivated, all amped up, ready to go, and all of a sudden you gotta restart your phone and for it to work properly, which is super annoying. And if you're driving around, you don't want to have to fumble with your phone, restart it, enter your passcode, launch Google Maps again to find the destination. The whole process is a mess, and it is currently June 20th for me. I still do not have the June update yet. It is running on the May update, so hopefully that will be able to fix some of the bugs. So far after 30 days, it's a little bit disappointed with the Google Pixel 7a. During the first few weeks, I was pretty excited to recommend it pretty easily. The $500 price tag is pretty attractive for a fast phone that takes great photos. The battery life does sucks, but if you don't mind charging your phone that often, is fine. But now my biggest concern is just the connection issues. This happened previously when I had the Google Pixel 7 Pro as well. Ironically, after I completed my final review with the Pixel 7 Pro, I did like it a lot. I recommended it. And once I finished the final review, packaged it up, came ready to ship it out, I find that it was experiencing similar connection issue. I would need to restart the phone throughout the day. I'm not sure if the Bluetooth connection in my car might be triggering it, or who knows, maybe it's just Wi-Fi bouncing on and off. And even when I turn off my Wi-Fi or the internet data, it does not solve the issue. I always have to restart my phone for it to work properly. It's not a data cap issue or anything like that. I have unlimited data. So there's definitely something going on with the connection issues on the Google Pixel 7a. So overall, I was pretty happy with the phone over the first month. This is why I do these daily reviews. Over the first few weeks of any phone, everything is going to be fast, smooth, efficient, no lag, no stutter, no software bugs. But after a while, when the honeymoon phase is over, you do start seeing weird stuff like connection issues and everything coming up. So as of the moment, I would not recommend the Google Pixel 7a until all these software kinks are worked out. Maybe it will be with the next software update for June. I have the T-Mobile US version, so no update yet for me. But with any new phone, there's always going to be weird stuff going on. If you don't want to deal with that, maybe just get the Google Pixel 7. There's a lot more to like for $100 more. And it's also been out for almost a year now, so a lot of bugs should be refined at this point. But the Google Pixel 7a, quick summary, you get a great camera, fast performance, average or maybe below average battery life, clean and simple software that works great in the first 30 days. I know some people did not experience any weird bugs or anything like that like me, but I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. Some people may think that my phone may be defective, but I did experience something similar with the Google Pixel 7 Pro. So who knows, maybe I'm just a really bad luck person. I always get poor battery life, poor screen on time with all my phones. But I honestly just use a lot of my phones right out of the box. I don't really do anything crazy with it. That is just my experience. If you're curious how I use my phone on a day-to-day basis, I do post that as well. So I still think the Google Pixel 7a is a great price at $500. You often see it on sale at $400 or $450. So never buy anything at full price. It offers a great value for what it is, and overall it is a decent experience. There are some hiccups here and there, like I mentioned with the software issue and losing connections, but overall the battery life is terrible. But you don't mind charging your phone, you're still getting a fast phone that takes great photos. Hope you guys find this video to be helpful. Please check out my last video where I talk more about the connection issues that I was having. Remember to like and subscribe. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Google Pixel 7a and if you would be getting it. It's been a fun experience for me, but I am definitely looking forward to the next phone. I'm going to be testing out the Moto Razr Plus along with the Google Pixel Fold whenever that comes in. Alright guys, appreciate the support and look forward to seeing you in the next video.